Okay, good morning and welcome to Just Daf It. Daf Yomi Shir. We're learning Maseches Yevamos, Daf Kuf Aleph, 101. As I mentioned just previously in the event, 101 is better than 100, a lot better than 100. The Gemara Chagiga says you retain your learning much better if you learn it 101 times, and therefore you have 101 Eidim. It's better than 100 Eidim. Could it be? Is it possible to have better proof? Yeah, it is possible to have better proof. Eidim are not the absolute truth. Eidim just are clarification. They're a bureau. They're not the same thing as a idea. Everybody knows something to be true. The Gemara says previously, if something is chaylev, everybody knows it's chaylev. Everybody knows common knowledge. That's 100% true. Eidim is not 100% proof. It's a bureau, straight kameya. 101 would be a stronger proof than 100. But the truth is that the Gemara says on Daf Beis, so really it's 100. So you have to wait till tomorrow to get the 101. All right. So we'll start continuing the Mishnah. Yishneim Kohanim, top of Kuf Aleph from Aleph. Tana Rabbanan. If both of the parents, right, we're showing a child, a suffix, whether who his father is. We don't know his father. He was a 9-month-old child of his father, or a 7-month-old child of his new father. The mother remarried without waiting 3 months. So if they're both of the fathers were Kohanim, right? So if he curses or he hits them, zeh achar zeh, he's not going to be punished from Mises base. If he does it one after another, first he curses one father, then he goes a second later and curses another father. So this opinion holds, even if he did it simultaneously, right? He cursed, they both possible parents were standing there, he cursed them at the same time, or he hit them at the same time. He had a wild right hook that he took out both parents with one right hook. Chayev. He's chayev in that case, according to the Tanakama. That because the Tanakama holds hasra suffix shmei hasra. Even if when you give a hasra, in order to be chayev Mises Basin, you have a hasra, you have to have a warning. The Eidim have to warn you. So even though you don't know who your father is, hasra suffix is an opinion of shma hasra. That's the opinion of the Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Basachas Chayev B'Zechas Potter. Rabbi Yehuda argues. He says only if you do it at the same time, because then it's Hasras Vadai. Say don't hit your father, and you hit both of them at the same time. You curse both at the same time. That's Hasras Vadai. But if it's Zechas Hasras Safik, the each day their own Hasras, it's Hasras Safik. It be Potter Atanya. But Rice says Rabbi Yehuda Omer Potter Basachas. Rabbi Yehuda says you be Potter even if you did it. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Potter Basachas. That if you did it. Basachas be potter. Even if you did a basachas be potter. So it says straight tonight Aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. Both these are two opinions, Tanaic opinions. What Rabbi Yehuda actually held. My time of the man potter. One's the reason, the one who exempted. Amar Rabbi Chanina never brach lamata. Right? Doesn't make any sense. That's just vadai. Why should it be potter even if he does it at the same time? So the Gemara said, "Never bracha lamata, never bracha lamal." It says bracha when it's talking about human beings, and this is bracha when it's talking about bracha is a euphemism for klola, for cursing. Lamala, curse Hashem. Malamala sheim bashutfus. When you curse Hashem, right? You're cursing Hashem directly. If you curse Hashem and another god together, you wouldn't violate the Isser. Af lamata sheim bashutfus. So too, when you curse or you hit, when you hit your parents, your father, it has to be someone. That can't be with another person. It has to be only one person. And the Torah compares hitting your father to cursing your father. So whatever the halachas by hakah would apply by klala also. But all of mishmaro, this suffix person, right? He goes to the Beis HaMikdash. He's allowed to go up in both the mishmars to go do the avoda. He can't get entitled to the karbanas. Why is he going up to the Beis HaMikdash? Why we want to do the avoda? Only people only go to the avoda if they're going to get some benefit. They're going to get a nice steak. They're not getting any reward. Why is he going to do avoda? Lama ola amar ba'ina d'navid mitzvah. So what are you talking about? He's a frum guy. He likes to do mitzvahs. He likes to do avoda. Ella Allah lo kasani. So the Gemara reframes this question. Allah lo kasani doesn't say Allah. Ella ola bal korcha. Ola sounds like they forced him. Why are they forcing him? He's a suffix, whether he's a Kohen or which Mishmar he's part of, they force him to go up because it's embarrassing to the rest of his family. He doesn't go up in the Mishmar. People say, why do you get left behind? Oh, we know, because we don't know who his father is. It's embarrassing to the family. We force him to go up in order to save the embarrassment of his family. Even Shneim and Mishmar, if both possible fathers were in the same Mishmar, he's able to get a portion. Maishna shtei mishmaros, delo. What's the reason if it's both fathers from 2 mishmaros, he can't get delo? The azal laha mishmaro madchale, azal laha mishmaro madchale. He goes to this mishmar. They'll say, no, you're part of the other mishmar. He goes to this mishmar, you're part of the other mishmar. Mishmar echad nami azal lahai beisavu madchale. So by mishmar echad, right? Mishmar is 1 week, 24 mishmaros. They each serve 1 week, 6 days of the week. The Shabbos, the whole mishmar served. But those 6 days were divided into 6 batei avos and 6, families. So he's from a different family. He's from 2. He might say mishmar. He might be from 2 different families. Mishmar echanami azal hai beisav matkle. Azal hai beisav matkle. Each family will push him away. No, it's not your day. Amar Rav Papa. Amar Mayu Shnei Mishmar echanu beisav echanot echad. The Mishmar to say, not only is he part, both fathers were part of the same mishmar, but they're also part of the same beisav, the same genealogical ancestry, same familial ancestry. So therefore, automatically manav shach. Either way, he gets one chelek. Hadron alachnosin esanusa. We finished the 11th parak. Onto the 12th parak. This is an interesting parak. I learned about chalitza. I remember when I was younger, learning Mesachas Yevamos. I had an affinity for this parak because it talks about shoes. Chalitza, as the woman takes off the shoes of the man. I like talking about shoes. I actually have tons of pairs of shoes at home. I think I'm almost like a woman in the amount of shoes I have. I don't have so many, like dress shoes. I have 2 pairs of dress shoes for the week. I have 1 for Shabbos. But I have a lot of other types of shoes. I have Crocs. I have natives. I have, I guess they're called sandals. I have slippers, sneakers. It's like 8 pairs, a lot for a man. Women have 100. Some women have 150 pairs of shoes. Not joking. All right, let's get into it. Shoes. Mitzvahs chalitza. B'shlosh dayanim. When a woman wants to do chalitza, how do you do chalitza? We're gonna get into the particulars of chalitza. The woman is taking the shoe off the foot of the Yevamos. It's supposed to be the right foot of the Yevamos. You have to do it in front of 3 dayanim, 3 judges. Even if they're not, not so knowledgeable. These people, they're just laymen, regular people. They don't have rabbinic knowledge. It's okay. Chalitza b'minal. If they're chalitza with a minal, we're gonna have to define what a minal, what types of shoes these things are. It's not really clear from our scroll or anything. Minal rashi or rachu kein shalanu. It's a very soft leather. A soft leather. Chalitza sheira. That's a good chalitza. Banpilya, if you do it with a sock, you just take off a sock. That's chalitza p'tula. That's possible. But sandal sheish b'oikev. Gosh, if you do a sandal, what did Rashi a sandal is? A sandal, I guess, has leather that's a harsher leather. I don't know, maybe suede is the softer one because what is the word you do? What's it called? You comb it? Not suede. Don't comb it. You scrape it. I don't know. Makes it a little softer. A harder leather. So that sandal. I'm going with Rashi's explanation here. I hope one day we're going to have Yevamos discuss more particular how it relates to shoes nowadays. What's the Gemara really saying? If it's a shoe with thick leather, right? If it has, Akev is a heel. I don't know why they say a sole over here in our school. It has a heel, kosher, then it's kosher. Which ain't lo Akev pasul. If it doesn't have an Akev, it doesn't have a heel. I guess a sandal we're talking about a fancier shoe. Fancier shoes have a stronger leather. I don't know if we talk about suede versus regular leather. If you heard different shiurim, I've talked about, there's 2 different types of leather. There's leather which is split grain leather and full grain leather. When you take the skin off a cow, normally most leather is from a cow. You take off the leather, the skin, so you cut it in half. The bottom part is called split grain. It's not strong at all. A lot of leather couches are made from split grain because you need a lot of leather, and that's why they get ruined after a couple of years. They start to peel. If it's peeling your couch, that means it's split grain leather. If it's full grain leather, it's much more expensive. It's much more durable. It can last 10 to 25 years. Really, I have a couch like that. I paid like over $2,000 for a 3-seater. But it's a really good leather, full grain leather. I advise you to get that for a couch. But most shoes are made out of full grain leather. Wallets are made out of full grain leather. Belts are made out of full grain leather. So there's possibly 2 types of shoes. There's shoes that are made out of the split grain and the full grain leather. Full grain leather are fancier shoes, obviously, and would have a heel, right? Loafers don't usually have a heel, but a Shabbos shoe, a fancier shoe, is going to have a heel on it. So that has to have a heel in order to be classified as type of shoe, because it doesn't make, if it's a full grain leather shoe, it should have a heel if it's supposed to be fancy. That's how I would explain it. Min arkuva lamata chalitza ksher, min arkuva lamala chalitza psula. The arkuva, what is the arkuva? The arkuva is a bone. I think it's the, what is that bone called? It's the tibia. I think it's the tibia, the bone between your knee and your ankle, the tibia. There are actually two bones. There's two bones or one, I'm not sure. There's tibia. I know the femur is the thigh bone. And the tibia, maybe there's another bone, I'm not sure. So if it's merakuva lamata, arkuva is generally a knee. So if it's the shoe, even if it's a boot, let's say, but it doesn't go up to your knee, that would be a good chalitza ksher. Merakuva lamala chalitza psula. If it's a huge boot, this is the way I'm explaining it. Rashi seems to explain it. We're talking about someone who had his leg cut off. Even in a regular case, you put a big boot on, take a boot off the man's foot. Men don't wear really high boots. Women do, but men don't wear really high boots. So therefore, it has to be a man's shoe, not a woman's shoe. Chalza b'sandal she'ein shalo. She takes a shoe that doesn't belong to him. B'sandal shal eitz, a wooden shoe. I don't know if they make shoes out of wood anymore, but shal small. Biyamin, his left shoe, she takes off his right foot. Chalitza ksher, it's a b'diavad, it's a good chalitza. Chalza b'gadol sheyachal halach, but let's say he wears a really big shoe. It's bigger than his size. O b'katan shoe chofes rov ragel chalitza ksherah. Even if it doesn't fit him, if he's able to fit most of his foot in the shoe, then it's b'diavad, it's a good chalitza. After the Gemara, the Mishnah says that you just need laymen, you don't need big, knowledgeable people. Why does it say dayanim? Dayanim sounds like people have to be pointed at dayan, a judge. You have to have knowledge. What does it mean, dayanim? They have to be knowledgeable enough, at least to tell them the psukim, right? They have to say a certain pasuk. They have to say certain psukim when they do chalitza. They have to tell them what the pasuk is. They have to be knowledgeable. They have to be someone who's a zaken. We're going to learn out of the person zaken. We're going to define what a zaken is. So even Ben Sion, like this. There's a rav and a zaken. Vadarta p'tei zaken. You're supposed to give kavod to a zaken. People think it means a big rabbi got on the door. I don't think so after this Gemara. So they have to have knowledgeable. Tanina lahad, the Tana Rabbana. We learned this elsewhere. Mitzvahs chalitza b'shlosh yodim lahakros kein dayanim. 3 judges. They just have to know, like judges, like official judges, mumchim, let's say, people that are professional judges. They don't have to be professional judges. They just have to know, be educated enough to read Hebrew words. He says 5 judges. My time, Tanakam. What's the reason Tanakam? Tanya Zak Zakanim. It says in the parsha of Yevamos, it says Zakanim. Also, she goes to Ashara and there's Zakanim. Zakanim is Shnayim. Zakanim is plural too. In basin shakum, you need a basin, so you can't have an even number. You have to have a basin has to be an odd number. So you have to have one more. Reikan shlosha. Ziknei Shnayim. The Chiddush says Ziknei, which is also plural too. And Zakanim, an extra mem to teach me another 2 Shnayim. In basin shakum, has to be an odd number. So Reikan Chamisha. Therefore you have 5. Tanakam high Ziknei ma'avidlei. Why didn't Tanakam also darshan? It could have said Ziknei. Why doesn't he say 5 like Rabbi Yehuda? I mean, Ba'ilei Rabbi Yehuda. Ziknei comes to tell me, the fact the word says Zikanim is just to tell me that even head yotos, a zakin is a head yot. An elder is someone who's not an ignoramus, but just a regular person, not a big rabbi. Rabbi Yehuda had yotos minole, and Rabbi Yehuda, how does he know had yotos? Where does he know that from? Nafkalei mele'ene. It says to the eyes. The Amar Mar le'ene prat l'sumim. Right, le'ene comes to exclude blind people, right? For the judges by chalitza, the fact that Eine comes to exclude the judges can't be blind. You see, we can conclude from there that these judges, even laymen, are okay. These Haggadai, Sanhedrin, but if you really need people that are qualified rabbis or qualified mumchim, Sanhedrin, I don't think a rabbi. When I discuss what a rabbi is exactly, Sanhedrin needs smicha. There's nowhere in the Torah that says rabbonim. It's an interesting phrase. We're going to get into that. Zakanim versus Sanhedrin versus Smicha versus Rabbonim. Sanhedrin, but you need Sanhedrin. Those people are more knowledgeable. They need Smicha. Sumin. Right? If you'll say that you need real mumchin, people that are professionals, Why do you have to exclude sumim? The Tanya Rav Yosef nafka. You learn it already from somewhere else. The Tanya Rav Yosef taught exchange basin menukim b'sedek, just like a basin. Sanhedrin have to be trustworthy. They have to be honest people. Kach basin menukim kol mum. They also can't have external blemishes on their bodies. Shenemar, we learn a pasuk in Shir Ashir on the top of Kuf Aleph and Beis. Kulach yafe rayasi mumin bach. You're beautiful, a beloved even refers to Sanhedrin. It's talking about Sanhedrin, mumin bach, and mumin beidach. So therefore, right, we would learn from Rav Yosef that, right, that they can't be blind. The fact says la'inei, so we're talking about even hadyotos can't be blind. Beidach, the other opinion, ahu la'inei ma'avid. What do they do la'inei? Ahu l'chadarava yud for Rava who das. Damar Rava strict gedani l'mechsi ruka the kanafim mipuma the Yevamos. They have to be able to see it, right? One of the things she has to take off his shoe. She has to say some sukkah, and she has to spit, not in the shoe, but near the shoe. They have to be able to see it. It's a big spit. It has to be a large enough phlegm that the yanim could actually see it. Not with a microscope, where they're sitting. They don't have to go with a microscope. I don't think that would be okay. That's what you see when we're talking about Re'iyah. It has to be from where you're sitting. When you look at a lulav and esrog, you look at it when a normal length. You don't go inspect it with a microscope. But the other opinion, Yehuda also needs Rava's teaching. Inachanami, you're right. Val had yotas minali. Where does he know had yotas? Nafkam be Yisrael. It says Yisrael called to Yisrael just means any Jew. Either High Yisrael Ma'avid. What does he do with Yisrael? I mean, by the Tani Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda Yisrael, but based in Shal Yisrael, based in Shal Gerim. To exclude Gerim, even though they can be yotos, they can't be converts. Either Yisrael Achrina Ksiv. Where does he learn that you can't be Gerim? It says Yisrael second time. V'idach, the other one is, why does it say Yisrael second time? We were sitting right on Tarfon. He was officiating, and Yevamos wanted to do chalitza. Anu kulchem chlota nal. From Yisrael, we learn the pasuk saying that the Yisrael, the people are watching the Yisrael and are watching this. They have to say chalutza nal. This is not ma'akiv, but it's supposed to say chalutza nal. V'idach mi'v'nikra. Where does he learn it from? V'nikra is called out nafka. Elamata. The karushnayim. Once we're saying already that plural mentioning in the Torah includes more dayanim, it says v'karu, right? The skanim call out. Karu is plural shnayim. V'dabru shnayim, it says they talk shnayim. Hachinami l'Yehuda harekan tish l'Rabbanan harekan shiv. You have to add 4 more dayanim. According to the Rabbanan, you should need 7 judges. According to Yehuda, 9 judges. My answer is no. Those psukim reading from something else. Danya v'karu lo v'lo shlucha. The Zkanim, the basin has to call him and not shlichim. They can't appoint an emissary to call them. The Dabro Ela, what does that teach? Though they speak to him, they speak to his heart. She Mahayahu Yeled, he's Skena, he's a young child, and she's an old woman. Who's Zakim, he Yaleda, or he's an old man and she's a young woman. Don't go do Yivam. They advise him to Chalitza. Why are you going with this young woman? Why are you going with this old woman? Get married to people your age. And don't bring fights to your house. People from different generations are going to fight more easily than people from the same generation because they don't have the same interests. Amar Nachman, halacha chalitza b'shlosha. He passed halacha is like the Rabbanan, not like Yehuda, only 3 dayanim are needed. Whole stam lantana kavase. Our Mishnah is anonymous. It says 3. I'm really Rav Nachman. Rav says Rav Nachman. When it comes to miyun, you need a basin to supervise a miyun. When a girl who gets married younger than 12 and then she's refusing to stay married to the guy, but it's not. Miyun v'chalitza b'shlosha. It says in the beginning of Masechah Sanhedrin, miyun and chalitza are with 3 dayanim. B'chitem hachanami. Maybe you'll say that's the truth. Miyun you need 3 dayanim. Vatani miyun beishamay omrim beisin mumchin. Beishamay says you need professional dayanim. Beisin omrim beisin v'shalova beisin. They say it doesn't have to be professional. They both agree. Beishamay is telling you need 3. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef, Machshir Mishnayim. They say chalitza, even though normally you're not supposed to have an even number. They say chalitza is okay too. Amar Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Nachman. Halacha goes as they paskin. Rav Nachman paskin. Halacha follows that pair. They only need 2. Even though the stam Mishnah, the anonymous Mishnah of Sanhedrin says 3. Versus hasam chad stam of hacha trei stam. There it's only 1, and by me and it's only 1 stam Mishnah anonymous Mishnah. Here it's 2 stam Mishnahs. There also in Sanhedrin it says chalitza b'shalosha. Then versus hasam nami trei stam ininu. We have a second stam Mishnah that says you need 3 dayanim by me, and the stam mina shachalta fanav yusena. They should base, and this is from our Mishnah from Masechta and Daf Chaf Hey, right? If she does miyun in front of dayanim, they can marry her, even though normally we're suspecting maybe if based in someone gives a heter, like mater or neder, they can't marry her because he did it or he asked her on the husband, so he can marry her. Because a basin, it's a basin of 3, and only a basin is 3, so therefore you see a basin is 3. No, here we have 3 anonymous mishnayos, because that mishnah says Mino Shachalta B'Fam. Chalitza also 3. Whereas the Mikli Hastama Stama. These are both, we have a lot of anonymous mishnahs. Mali Chatzta, Mali Tresta, Mali Tlasa. What's the difference? 1 or 2 or 3. 1 should be enough. The reason we paskin over here that 3 is enough is because it's anonymous mishnah, but also that it wasn't even a place of machlokas, and then we see Rabbi Yehuda, who argues in our brisa over here, retreated back to the opinion of the Rabbanon. When it comes to giving smicha to Zakanim to make someone a part of a musmach for a beis din, for Sanhedrin, that has to be done in front of 3 dayan. Egla rufa, the process, someone kills someone in between cities, you don't know which city is responsible for it, you decapitate a calf in a valley. So that's in front of 3 dayan. B'shlosh, the Rabbi Yosef. Yehuda Omer b'chamish. Yehuda argues those cases need 5. And this is the first Mishnah, Masechet Sanhedrin, b'shlosha. The next phrase in the Mishnah, is a 3 dayan. Loka polig Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, who argued in the first clause, right after that, didn't argue. Shmamina, Hadar Rabbi Yehuda, Shmamina. Even though Rabbi Yehuda argues in our brisa over here on Kuf Aleph and Aleph, you see from the Mishnah Sanhedrin, he went back and he was chozer about Mishnah has more authority than a brisa, and therefore even Rabbi Yehuda holds that chalitza is done in front of 3 dayanim and not in front of 5 dayanim. I hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in Iyun Ben Sion. We're going to talk more about the nature of a zakin. What does a zakin mean? Zakanim here is talking about even when you use zakanim, even had yotos. What's the difference in a zakin, Sanhedrin, and a rabbi? You don't want to miss this. See you in the next one.